It's two years in a row that all this ceremony happen. We celebrate that ceremony inside the building. So my last year here in DC, I have the privilege to celebrate outside, in the right place. First of all, I have to thank Mike and Adi Manatos that they gave us the privilege every year to present our Greek hero. And and I have to say that Greek never run out of heroes, and we have we will have every year one hero to celebrate. And if you want to describe a Greek hero, first of all, I have in my mind three words. First, philotimo, a word that every year announced by Ochidei Foundation and has many meanings. The second is the courage. And the third is the ethos of the warrior's ethos. And these three words have had the Eleftherios Smirniotopoulos, who was born on December 15, 1960, in the village of Mistras, Greece, recruited as a young law student to join the Hellenic Air Force NCO Academy. Smirniotopoulos graduated from the Air Force Academy at the top of his class. During the Italian invasion of Greece in 1940, Greco-Italian War, Smirniotopoulos participated in the air defense of Thessaloniki. Flying Polish Peasants, he recorded 2 kills during this conflict and is credited with an additional kill in the former Yugoslavia, also during the Italian invasion. After German forces invaded, disbanding the military, Colonel Smirniotopoulos was recruited by British intelligence and escaped occupied Greece to join Royal Air Force in North Africa. As a lieutenant in the 336 Greek squadron, Smirniotopoulos flew Spitfires and Hurricanes, participating in the decisive battles of El Alamein against Rommel's forces and in the siege of Tobruk. He was also one of the 2 Greek fighter pilots selected to participate in a secret mission to take out German guns on the island of Leros. After the Allied victory, he returned to his homeland. During the civil war in Greece, as an active duty Air Force officer, Lieutenant Smirniotopoulos was targeted in a grenade, launched, receiving shrapnel wounds and subsequently losing an eye and his ability to fly in 1947. Colonel Smirniotopoulos, wounded, led to his medical transfer to the United States for treatment. His wife Panagiotis joined him in 1950, and they settled in the United States. During his medical leave from the Greek Air Force, Colonel Smirniotopoulos was employed as assistant to the air Attaché to the Embassy of Greece, starting in 1950 until his retirement in 1981. He remained an active member of the Greek Air Force until his death on Sunday, December 25, 2016. He was being awarded with all medals, decoration, and commendations stipulated for an officer of his rank and seniority. Except, besides the award presented to Colonel Smirniotopoulos by the Ochidei Foundation, the Minister of Defense of the Hellenic Republic decorates him for his participation in the operation during World War with a medal and award. Now I have to present the award to his wife Panagiotis. Stay.
On behalf of my mother, of my brothers James, Thomas, and Peter, and our entire extended family, and my late father, I'd like to thank the Ochidei Foundation and the members of the military of the Greek Embassy, for your generosity of spirit. We are really humbled by this honor. The stories that you just heard about my father were ones that he never told us. We had to dig for information, and recently had to dig on the internet. And I don't think that he was unique in that way, feeling that his war stories were more about the happy times. I remember him telling me when he was in the desert with the Royal Air Force that the two Australian officers dressed themselves in the armor that the British had brought, ceremonial armor, and they started jousting in the mess tent. And they were, of course, sent back to Australia. He enjoyed telling a good story. One of the better stories was the story of when they met. And my mother was a girl of 15, and my father was a very handsome, wavy-haired pilot. He wanted to make an approach, and he asked her what the time was, and she noticed that he was wearing a wristwatch. So this was typical of one of my father's land-bound maneuvers. You heard a little bit about his airborne maneuvers. As I did additional research, I realized that he took down a German Dornier 17, which was over Yugoslavia. The crew that survived identified the plane that took them down as a Hurricane. And that's because the Block 151 that my father was flying was frequently misidentified as a Hurricane. And it was lucky for the Greeks that it was, because the Greeks ordered 25 of the Block 151s from France. France fell in 1940. Greece took delivery of 9. And so my father flew one of those 9 Block 151s in order to take down an Italian Cant over Thessaloniki, and then the Dornier, which was a German bomber over Yugoslavia, very close to Greece. He crash landed, actually damaged his plane after that event, and was able to crash land. There was another incident that he told me of in the desert. He was flying some kind of reconnaissance or sortie at night, and his plane became disabled. There were many, many encampments in North Africa, and he had to determine how to land the plane safely and not hurt anybody on the ground. And the way my father describes it, it was just dumb luck. That he landed in the dark, and when the sun rose, he was in between 2 encampments. He said he received some sort of decoration for this, but again, he wasn't a man to talk about his military accomplishments. In fact, about 2 years ago, I gave him a book in which he was mentioned called On Spartan Wings. And I was desperately looking for the book today, last night, couldn't find it. I found many, many medical books, my mother's medical books on cytopathology, histology, my favorite book, The Ovary, but I was not able to find On Spartan Wings. But nevertheless, my family and I are deeply honored to be in such distinguished company, and we are humbled. And I have to say, my father was a proud man, but also a humble man, and I think that that's a uniquely Greek characteristic, to be, as Benjamin Franklin once said, proud of one's humility. But he was a very humble man, and he would have been deeply touched by this recognition. And so I would like to thank all of you for attending and for recognizing him. We are deeply humbled by this. Thank you very much.